Anybody can get past anything. Mm-hmm. Whatever's holding you back. Anybody, any one of you can get past anything. Identify it. Go seek out where you can start addressing it and get help. Get the tools at those places and then start implementing the tools. And we're back
with another episode of He Said, She Said.
So what I thought would be really cool for today's episode would be to ask you about this full circle moment that you had 3-4 days ago. And I'll kind of frame it up a tiny bit, but then I want you to really kind of share it from your perspective. But I remember being at Tony Robbins' UPW, right? Unleash the Power Within.
Unleash the Power Within.
That's what it is.
I know, but you said unleash.
Unleash.
Italian
Unleash the power within.
Unleash the power within.
It's the Italian version. And I remember being there and you writing down all your limiting beliefs. Well, I mean, we both were as part of the exercise. But you had limiting beliefs that I'll let you share, not me, that would have never, ever lent themselves to here we are several years later and you're recording courses for Tony and for Dean Graziosi for them to sell on their platform. Mm-hmm. That's so crazy full circle. And I want to frame this up even more. And by the way, this whole episode, Lori's going to talk about this stuff just so that you can see where your full circle journey could be. This is for you guys. It's not about Lori. This is so that you can realize, holy shit, if I'm afraid to speak, or if I'm afraid to start my business, or if I'm afraid to step out, or if I'm afraid to whatever, that was once us. And that was, in this case, once Lori. So I remember you wouldn't even speak in front of people.
I got nervous speaking in front of dinner groups of like 6 people.
No, you thought you were going to pass out. Like,
yeah.
Guys, sometimes you'd be like, oh my God, I think I'm going to pass out. You got to hold me. Like, you literally were going to black out because of fear and adrenaline.
It was so visceral in my body because of the stories that I was telling myself consistently, like nonstop. The narrative in my brain every single day was that I have panic attacks. Like, it wasn't just that I have them. It was that I am them. Like, I was born with these. These started showing up for me as a pretty young person. And I know what they're traced back to. So I kind of want to go there, is just being raised in a more restrictive religion and getting made fun of in school for my religion and weight constantly. I started to associate any form of attention or eyes on me as negative.
So then the safe thing was to become invisible.
I would become invisible. I was constantly quiet. I would avoid it. And then when it came time to actually go to high school, because middle school, my panic attacks were so intense. It was all the time. It was in the hallway. It was if I knew that a teacher was going to call on me. It was, I can't read out loud in front of people because I start to not be able to breathe. And I would have these conversations with my teachers and tell them how bad the panic attacks were and that they couldn't call on me and I couldn't read in front of the class. And I was like, I will do all the schoolwork, but I literally can't sit in the class and do this. And I remember them, number one, not understanding, but also they started to call on me less. Yeah. And so it just allowed me to like keep hiding and keep hiding and keep hiding while this got worse and worse and worse. And it became who I thought I was.
So the important part of this story is you painting the picture of where this fear came from, because now everybody else should be kind of hitting pause and thinking about, wait, where's my fear come from? Where my childhood or where my experiences have I developed this fear that's holding me back? So you identified it, and then you did something about it. We've been to not one, but 2 Tony Robbins UPWs. We've been to Landmark. We've been to Jack Canfield. You've been to Jack Canfield, Train the Trainer, like how to get on stage and train.
3 weeks from like 6 a.m. till you're doing things till like 11 p.m. over the course of 3 weeks. It's 1 week at a time spread throughout the year. But in all honesty, that was the one that really completely broke me, like broke this pattern. But I also needed all of those previous things that you were saying in order to be able to start working through it. And it didn't go away. When I say it broke the pattern of the thoughts I was thinking. So I understood now how to have the tools to interrupt the thought. And the feeling never has fully gone away from me. So today I'm going to go and speak at Brendon Burchard's event, Growth Day. And I still get all of the nerves. I do. And everyone's like, well, if you would just focus on trying to transform people, then you wouldn't be nervous. You should be thinking about the impact you're going to make. Bullshit. Yes, of course. Of course. Like, I'm thinking of how I can transform a person, but it doesn't take away the feeling that you're about to be on stage with everyone's eyes on you. And it's a rush anyway. I think before you do something where you're about to grow, that is a completely normal feeling that we need to normalize. I've asked a ton of speakers. I've asked people like Ed Milet and other big speakers, do you still get nervous? Of course they still get nervous. It's just they're not going to let that thought be something where they think it's going to take them down. And in all honesty, I've told Chris this before. I'm like, I'm not nervous about screwing up. You know that I'm totally fine with being imperfect up there. I'm fine tripping over words. I actually had a fear that I was going to pass out on stage. So that has been my biggest fear, is because it's such a physical response in my body that I start to get dizzy that then compounds and I'm like, I'm going to pass out. Oh my God. And the fear of the passing out is what actually makes it way worse.
Yeah. Like when you get a panic attack over something and or like me, I'll be like, oh God, I think something's wrong. I might be having a heart attack. And then you get panicked about this possible heart attack. And then it feels like the heart attack.
Yes.
And then you're like, oh my God, that's it. I'm dropping down right here.
So how have I worked through that? Okay. So, and we'll go back to the full circle moment, but I just want to share this first, is that you have to become okay with worst case scenario. And that's going to scare a lot of people to say that, or to think you actually have to be okay with it.
That's huge. Say it one more time. You have to learn how to accept worst case scenario. And how would you respond to it? So, okay, I pass out on stage. Will I be okay? Yeah, it'd be a little embarrassing, but you know what? Honestly, my worst fear would come true and I would learn that I'm okay. And so I would say, okay, you know what? This shows you, whoever is out there afraid of whatever, that you can do this too. And what has really helped me is just calling out the elephant in the room. If you don't get up there and say that you're nervous and you're trying to play it cool, like you're the expert and the professional, then that's going to compound that feeling and it's going to make it worse. So some of the things I've done whenever I go speak is like, hey guys, I still get nervous. Can we all take a deep breath together? And honestly, this is for me. Or I make a joke out of it. I'm like, okay, close your eyes. Let's take a few deep breaths. And I'm like, that was just for me. So thank you so much. Another thing that I do, if you've ever seen me speak, is right when I get up there, I kind of start my intro and it's the first 2 minutes I can't feel grounded. And it's like, I can't feel my feet. I don't feel present on stage. I'm starting to tell that I'm getting panicky. And I just have everybody meet their neighbor or say, hey, what's your favorite part of the event been so far? Lean to your neighbor and let them know, talk amongst yourselves for 2 minutes or go meet someone or whatever that looks like. And it just gives me time to get present and catch my breath on stage. These are tools. These aren't miracles. These aren't unique to you. These are tools you learned. I mean, look at the whole order of things. First, you figure out, hey, where's my fear coming from? Then you figure out, okay, where can I go help get over this fear? All the events that we mentioned, right? Then at those events, at those trainings, you got tools. These are the tools that you're mentioning. So we're talking about this so that everybody listening realizes anybody can get past anything. Whatever's holding you back. Anybody, any one of you can get past anything. Identify it. Go seek out where you can start addressing it and get help. Get the tools at those places and then start implementing the tools.
So I want to share the full circle moment that happened a couple days ago. Hey y'all, if you didn't know, Earn Your Happy is now a part of the Growth Day Podcast Network. This is so exciting to me because I have been looking for a really good home for the show for, I can't even tell you, years, literally. And now I've finally been able to come together and collaborate with other people who have incredible shows, and I want to share them with you. One of the shows is Motivation with Brendon Burchard. And you guys, if you don't know about the beginning of my career, I literally started with Brendon Burchard's work. It's how I launched one of my very first online courses and membership sites, was because he gives so much advice that you can integrate and implement immediately. And that's what you're going to get on the show. Not just motivation, but you're going to learn exactly how to get your stuff out in the world. And not just that, but Brendon runs in the most incredible group of humans who are really doing the thing out in the world that you want to be doing. So go check it out. Go subscribe to Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I promise you, this is going to be one of those shows that no matter when you tune in, you're going to get value. Like, it's not one of those that you're like, God, I listened for 30 minutes and I didn't get what I wanted. Like, from the beginning, you're going to get something that changes your life or changes your business. So go check it out. Motivation with Brendon Burchard. I know you're going to love it. I'm obsessed. I was sitting in my hairdresser's chair. She was doing my ponytail before I went and filmed. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I start welling up with tears. And I was like, Tara, I have to tell you about this full circle moment that I'm having right now. So I go on to tell her about how we went to unleash the power within. And I wrote in my book, because I asked the question, what goals you have? And I wrote down to be a speaker, to be an author, to transform lives, to be a person of influence. And then it says, what are your limiting beliefs around this? And I wrote down, I'm not smart enough. I didn't graduate high school. I'm not going to be able to be the person who's going to do this because I have panic attacks. I can't even speak in front of like groups of my friends. And I just remember crying, writing that and being ready to be done with it.
Yeah.
That's the difference, is you have to be so sick and tired of your shitty lies that you're telling to yourself, and so sick and tired of this thing that you've been clinging onto. I was so completely ready to be done feeling and thinking that way that when I wrote it down, I think it just felt like a relief to even state it and look at it and say, this is so crazy that I am bound to this story. And so he goes on to talk about after this, about how this is a story I've been telling myself for years. And yes, it might have been a triggered story by something I actually felt, but I'm clinging to it. So if you cling to
fight for your limitations. If you
fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Yep.
And guess what? I was not only getting to keep them, but they were multiplying. So in that event, he went on to talk about the stories we tell ourselves and what is the story you want to replace with this. And I wrote down just like a simple mantra. I don't remember what it was, but I'm going to go back to Arizona House and find this book, and I will show everybody online. But you write down this story that you want to replace it with, essentially. And every time you catch that old thought, you just say, nope, and you replace it with the new one. And so this actually starts to work, you guys, because you cannot keep playing that old record and think that you're going to get new results. So it's just like putting on a new record and observing that maybe you'll start taking more actions that you wouldn't necessarily take. So then also multiply the fact that I'm getting all of these different tools that I just told you about. Now I feel armed with the fact that, okay, I'm okay with worst case scenario. Do I want it to happen? Absolutely not. But at least it's like, okay, if you're okay with it, you're not trying to avoid it then, right? You're just like, okay, I'm rolling with the punches. Here we go. And then having these tools that you can now implement, I felt a lot more armed to go and face these things. So fast forward, I'm sitting in the chair, getting my hair done. I'm telling her about this event that I wrote down my limiting beliefs. And I was like, and today I am going to go film a mastermind original course that they're releasing for Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins. Like, if you would have told me that while I was sitting there writing my limiting beliefs, I wouldn't have believed it. And honestly, I probably would have been way too scared and freaked out by it. So I'm glad that I didn't know. But I do think there's a piece of you that always kind of knows that you're made for greatness. I think that's just in everyone. I think it's because we are a piece of greatness. We're made by something that's great. And so I just think keep following that feeling and doing whatever it takes to overcome it. Because the other piece that I just want to share is, you guys, this was more than 10 years later. And everyone just thinks this journey is going to be fast. And at year 2, they're like, why is this not happening yet? Why aren't people noticing me? I did the same thing. And it takes a lot of time, because I would not have been ready in year 2 or 3 to do what I just did. I wouldn't have been. I wouldn't have been ready to be able to hold the space that I held in the way that I did in that room with that team of people who was used to working with complete professionals. I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I believe that there's a lot of reasons we're not getting certain opportunities yet. And it's just giving us more chances to grow.
I want to tell you about another full circle moment that we're living right now. But first, that made me think of a question. Is it worth the wait? Like, you wanted this 2 or 3 years after you wrote down in that notebook. but you're getting it, 10 years after you wrote it down in that notebook. Is it worth the wait?
It's absolutely 1,000,000% worth the wait. And like I mentioned, I wouldn't have been the person who would have even known how to be grateful for this opportunity before. I would have been overwhelmed and too scared and nervous. And we get the opportunities that we get when we're ready for them. And it's not that I felt ready. When you can physically and mentally handle them. Because of course I did not feel ready, but I knew that I was from the work that I had done. I still felt nervous. I still felt anxious, but I knew from the work that I had done that I was a person who can handle that.
So do you realize that today is also another big full circle moment?
Yes.
And now they happen left and right, but you kind of start to take them for granted. But I really want to sit and acknowledge this. You just talked about how you were at Tony Robbins, UPW, writing down in your book that one day I want to be a speaker and blah, blah, blah. And now you did a course with Dean and Tony for their platform, right? So that's full circle. But today you're going to speak at Brendan Bouchard's event. And right about that same time, a decade ago, when you and I were trying to reinvent ourselves, right? Figure out what's next for us. We were reading Brendan's new book at the time called The Millionaire Messenger.
Yeah, The Millionaire
Messenger, right? We would walk around the lakes in Minneapolis listening to that book together. We probably listened to it 2 or 3 times and started to create our products off of it, right? And study what he was doing. And today you're speaking at his event. Oh, and holy crap, I just realized he's also an investor in my app, Frello. Like,
crazy.
How crazy full circle are these moments that you once went to learn from people and now you're doing business with them or speaking on their stages or investing in each other's companies and all this stuff. These full circle moments need to be shared like this so that anybody who feels like you're on the part of your journey where you just can't see it coming together, it'll come together.
It will.
And it might take longer than you want. I hope it goes quicker than you want, but it might take longer than you want, but it's worth the work and the wait and the effort.
You'll understand why it took that long when it happens.
Yep, absolutely.
You'll understand it when it happens.
Listen, guys, I hope this inspired you. That was the goal. No matter where you are in your circle, so to speak, these full circle moments are waiting for you. I want you guys to DM us. I want you to share with us. How do you want your full circle moment to turn out? Where are you now? What are you writing down in your notebook? Whose events are you going to? Who are you learning from? And then what's that full circle moment going to be? Are you going to be on their stages? Are you going to do business with them? Are they going to invest in your company? Like, who knows what? So I want you guys to share with us what you want your full circle moments to be. And by the way, one of the ways that we really accelerated our full circle moments was getting in the rooms. We know most of these individuals because we got into the rooms or had a friend of a friend, right? And you just start to work your way into people's circles of influence. And they only want to do work with the people that they see doing the work. Does that make sense? Right? The big dreamer. So if you're a big dreamer, if you're doing the work and if you want to come have dinner with us 3 times this year and network with our circle of influence next week, actually this week, literally, I'm trying to predict when this thing comes out. This week, we just launched the dinner series as of the day that this thing comes out. So all you have to do is go to chrisharder.me/dinner or loriharder.com/dinner. Either one of those, chrisharder.me/dinner or loriharder.com/dinner, and go grab one of those seats if there's one available when you hear this. And we will see you at dinner.
So excited, you guys. And I can't wait to see you in those rooms because it's going to change the game for you. It's going to really accelerate your journey. So we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. And I want to make sure that you have my phone number, and I'm not kidding. Did you know that I have a community text number? For real. My phone number is 310-496-8363. This goes directly to my phone. All you have to do is text the word daily to 310-496-8363. And I literally text you every single day, Monday through Friday. I actually just got done 30 seconds ago texting a bunch of people back And I talk to you all of the time. You guys, people always ask me how I got my community text number and how it works. Well, all you have to do is you can just go to community.com and get your own. Community makes it easy to get a phone number that you can use to build your audience using text. People just text you at your number and they're added to your group. Then you can text them out audios, video links, anything you want. You guys, I text out happy birthday videos. I love to send podcast links, thoughts about life, book recommendations, different events that I'm doing in the local area. Texting gets me out of the noise of social media and directly into your hand. And now you can start texting your people too. Just go to community.com to get your phone number. They give you a 10-digit real phone number, not those weird short codes that look like spam, but it's more than a phone number. Your new number comes with an inbox for SMS and texting. This means you can actually manage your text list from your computer and an app on your phone. You can schedule text to send at certain times and to certain groups. You can even set up auto replies or let your assistant or customer service team answer your text messages via Community's awesome dashboard. Just go to community.com and ask for a free demo. They'll show you how it works and get you your number. It's time to start texting your audience versus just posting on social media. Everyone uses Community for that. So go check them out at community.com. I can tell you it's not just great for communicating with my audience, but Chris and I use Community and our texts to also sell out our launches. I'm telling you, you get such an incredible response because you really are creating a true deep sense of community and it's so intimate. It's freaking amazing. Go check it out at community.com.
Hey, do you know what the big secret is this year? And it shouldn't be a secret because this should be your biggest focus. It is building your community. I am always working on building and nurturing my community, and everyone is talking about the power of community. Without an online community, you just cannot grow organically or create a real movement, which is what I know that we're all after. And you can build trust or monetize your audience. When you get community right, not only does your audience grow faster, but so do your sales. But where's everybody going to be managing their communities these days? And a lot of online entrepreneurs and thought leaders are turning to Circle.so. Circle is an all-in-one community platform. It lets you host content and create discussions, live streams, group chats, and memberships all under your own brand. And what's so cool about Circle.so is that you don't even need a website or Facebook group. Instead, Circle lets you build your own community site where you can host content and manage your members. You can even create locked and unlocked content spaces, groups, and classes. How freaking cool is that? You can put your content behind a paywall too, and you can charge different amounts of money for different spaces on your community site. Circle.so is famously easy to use, and it has a free 14-day trial for you, so you can go check it out, see if you like it, see if you love all the options. Just go to Circle.so. Go check it out right now, you guys. Imagine being able to manage your community, start group chats and live classes, and accept payments all in one place. Kind of mind-blowing since this is usually spread all over the place. You have to log into so many different things. If this is the year to capture, organize, and monetize your community, head over to Circle.so. You can get a free trial and start building your online community right now. Just go to Circle.so. You guys, you get the 14-day free trial. So just go and see if it's for you. It's going to streamline everything and make your life so much easier. It's so freaking cool.